Hi, YouTube. Because they're going to get this later. They still haven't even gotten the first one. It's already edited and stuff for them. They'll probably get it tomorrow. But hi, YouTube. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Hopefully you're practicing some self-care. Even the future versions of them, as they see it go up. Hopefully everyone's practicing some self-care and being ready for just what's to come, you know? Like, life is unexpected. There's a lot of curveballs. The high Reddit, whatever it may be posted at. But I really appreciate everyone being here. Please, no spoilers in the chat. If you spoil anything, the mods will get you pretty much quicker than I can read, because apparently they're lightning quick. And let's just go ahead and jump into it. I don't see any other reason to stop. Nah, bruh. Nah, already. I ain't falling for that shit again. Nope. Alright, hopefully y'all can't. What a cute ass OP, first off. I'll talk after the OP. This is pretty fucking banger. I know, I'm glad, because it'd get taken down. And then I have quite a little bit of points that I'm like processing while we're like this is going on. Y'all can't say that this isn't cute though. I'm sure you guys are like have watched this and heard it before. Perfect. All right, so something I've noticed is the way that it, like, I guess this is the perfect question to go ahead and ask you guys. How many of you guys actually have internal monologues? And that's actually pretty fucking awesome, Master. I'm not gonna lie. I like the fact that there's like new OPs for every new like arc. How many of you guys actually like practice I don't not practice, but like have internal monologues, or you talk to yourselves, or I think I do. Yeah. Okay. And when you guys are talking to yourself, what way do you guys hear your voice, your inner voice, yourself, whatever that is? Do you guys hear your voice in a neutral tone, condescending tone, positive tone? Is it deeper, softer? What voice do you guys have? And I'm doing this for a purpose. Don't think I'm just like doing this just for like no reason. Oh, by the main girls, that's pretty cool. Just your normal voice. That's pretty good, Melly. Anyone else? Like it's fine if you have a lower voice, higher voice. Just your voice. Interesting. Does your internal monologue kind of a plain tone of a voice? So like stoic, like just pretty like plain for the most part. When you have your internal monologues, is it you discussing with yourself essentially, or is it you thinking things through? This is very interesting to go ahead and... Oh, emotionless. That's interesting. Hi, the real bung is. Maybe a bit exasperated. Monotone voice. That's interesting, Chiquette. Very neutral tone. Yes, actually, Professor Sorry, that's perfectly normal. Sometimes, and this is exactly what I was going to hit on, and it can come up at any point. That's the point, Millie Hall. Like that's, and it's a perfect example of that. Let me answer Professor Sorry real quick, and then we'll get through it. People can have any type of monologue. You know, it depends on who you mimic, or who your voice of reason can be, or your voice of unreason, or just who you can rely on, right? Because we tend to have different archetypes of individuals that we have, right? So sometimes, and that's the point, sometimes we can go out and argue with ourselves, and sometimes we can have like two opposing voices, like us asking questions, and then having internal monologues repeat, like whether or not it's dumb or not. And that's sort of like how we sometimes gather decisions, you know? So it reflects, yeah, it's very reflective of your state of mind as well. And it's also reflective on this archetypes that you may have, i.e., if you're really close to a specific role model, your mother, your father, whatever it may be, you can also internalize those voices, which is why sometimes you'll hear people say, like, you know what, I always hear my mom's voice when I'm making a stupid decision and it stops me. You know, you have all of these, like, things, and it could be sarcastic, dramatic, whatever you want to throw out there. Your internal monologue is so specific, and I'll let you guys know this. Not everyone has an internal monologue. Some people actually, how would I put it? Just make it come into fruition, do whatever they have to do, and then they think about it, but there's no voice behind it, which is quite weird for those of you that have experienced internal monologues for a long time. Um, why am I bringing this up? Well, because of, and I hate when, like, I know some of you guys are gonna get like tilted or triggered the moment I say ara ara, but when Araragi or Ara Ara dude has his internal monologues, and when he's going through it, if you listen to just the way that like the sentences are like going down, in any regard, it's like always a cleft down, right? So in any form of psychology, in any form of like inquisitive, Ara dude returns definitely. In any form of questioning, what you should or you can pay attention to is the tonality of voice, the importance of why voice is there, and of course, culturally it can change. Culturally, it can be different. But my thing is, why bring up and it hasn't just been in this episode, but quite literally in previous. You can go ahead and hear previous episodes. You can hear the tonality of like either excitement or not, depending on the way that like the ending of the sentence ends, right? The reason why like I'm drawing so much importance to this is like I'm wondering if his worldview is very pessimistic, just in general, considering the loneliness that he brings in his own voice, aside aside from just the general result of like him being around his surroundings. And I'm not bringing it up because he kept saying alone, alone, alone. I know that this is probably going to be a big topic in this specific arc or something, right? But yeah, I'll get to it in a bit, the real Bungie. But the reason why I'm touching this is like I wonder like what, because developing tonality is influenced not only by our environment but by our families and our attachments. For those of you guys that don't know, I tend to really focus a lot more on the attachment side of psychology, as I went over on Discord. But yeah, so attachment side of psychology, like especially the developmental cycle. If your parents are really busy, if they're firefighters or healthcare workers, police officers, 1,001 things, what you'll often end up finding is like, or military personnel for that reason, right? Depending on how strict they are, how often they are not home, you can start developing negative internal monologues if you don't have healthy coping habits, if you don't have the ability to go ahead and socialize correctly, especially if you're moving around a lot, i.e., those of you that are those that are called like military brats that are often moving, and have a hard time maintaining those connections. So this is where I'm heading at. Is like I wonder how Ara dude, Araragi, actually, when I think about it in Spanish, it's actually easier for me to pronounce it. It's weird. It's a weird English trick. But anyway, I wonder how he actually like maintains himself in his family. No, they have not. At least I have. I don't think so. If you're saying anything, but that's sort of the point that I'm getting at. Is like I wonder if this pessimistic nature comes from not pessimistic, but just like downtrend tonality of his internal monologues actually come from his either his environment or his family dynamics. That's the only way that like things can be. I don't know how to put it. Things can be explained a lot, right? And then pushing forward, right? Like I wonder, like they showed. Does he have siblings? I don't remember. I think there was something mentioned, right? Yay, nay. I'll just or anyone. I'm waiting for you guys to be like. So then, if there's ever a shot of what his family looks like, I wonder in this. Yeah. So if there's ever a shot of what his family looks like or thinks, I wonder if there's a difference, right? I.e., and I hate having to keep repeating this point, but it's so important to go ahead and nail on because it's a lot of baggage, right? But like I wonder, for example, if the sisters specifically, like what their worldview specifically of him and the family dynamic is, because that changes everything. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm pretty sure I remember. Guys, it's been a long day. I've had therapy sessions all day, so that's that's sort of the point that I'm hitting at. Is like I wonder where this is heading to. I wonder how the like everything interacts, just family dynamics wise. And for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of baggage that comes with it, especially having that tonality, not tonality necessarily, but that like frame of thinking. Like you can probably carry a lot more baggage and a lot of like the way that we call it in psychology is ghost in the nursery, which is essentially like a lot of baggage. Like you can like especially when there's not a lot of like individuals or environment, good environment, good whatever, like you tend to go ahead and fill up your space with your baggage, which is sad. But it's true, and it happens to everyone. So if it's ever happened to you, don't think that this is a direct attack at you. No, definitely not. If you're experiencing any form of trauma, pain, whatever it may be, please look out for like professional mental health care, help, whatever it may be. And let's continue now that we're here. Let me know if you guys can actually hear the thing as we go forward. Ara ara. Oh damn. Has a flag been raised here? I thought so since last episode. Alright, dude. To be fair, I would kill to see her in like a cat maid outfit. I'm not gonna lie. I would kill. Like, but or him, vice versa. Either way is fine. So real quick, and I'll answer your question before I move on to this. Master, I only know two kinds, which is, I guess, yandere, right? Is that the one where like they're like super over possessive and like sweet and nice, but the moment that someone talks to you, they like turn evil? And then tsundere is the vice versa one, right? Where it's like a tough exterior shell, and then they turn nice when, like Iron Mouse, right? That's like a tsundere character, right? Yeah, I only know two. Yeah, that's the only two that I know. But what I was gonna touch on is like it's interesting how like the background colors and the way that everything's sort of mixed up, right? It really reminds me of the Backrooms. If you guys don't know what that is, it's sort of like, you know, endless looping halls of like nothingness that like, you know, it's one of those like superstitious paranormal stuff that like everyone talks to. It's like a made up story, right? But nonetheless, like, yeah, that's what it sort of reminds me of, except for the very explicit colors that pop, right? And I think that this is one thing that I've noticed from. I am a Backrooms fan, actually. I fell into the backroom uh, hole. That sounds horrible. That sounds absolutely horrible. But yes, I fell into the YouTube series quite a bit, and then also like it's all over the place. But anyway. But anyway, no, what I was going to mention is like the specific framing, and this is something that I can say I genuinely appreciate about the show. Aside from the verbiage and the way that like things are framed word wise, and I'm sure that like nothing can convey the way that it's originally intended to, i.e., you can't translate everything 100% from Japanese to English, right? Super duper hard. But what I will say is like the way that like the framing is always done, there's always a way to show whether or not people are on equal footing, whether someone has a power over or under, or what the specific intent is, right? So, and this is going to be my wild ass shot in the dark. I don't think, right, especially since he blends in with the background, I feel like he's probably going to stay here a lot longer than we think. Like, of course, Ada is the main dude, right? Yeah, power dynamics and scene composition. It's a very, very important, like, it's a very, very important thing. Um, Especially like, for example, who's sitting down, who's standing up, why are they sitting that way, who's controlling the way that they talk, right, who's showing off what to who, and who's like gaining the momentum of like leaning forward, leaning back, where's your hands positioning, 1001 things. But the way that you actually look at this scene, you can tell that it's right heavy. So right heavy, like in any composition or any form of even like a social interaction, right? um if you're always like leaning more towards one direction or whatever, it's usually like a sign to leave, a sign for whatever. But what I'm wondering is, I feel like, I don't know, it's going to be more of an introspection on him than it is going to be on her issues, as her issues were like kind of touched on previously, kind of resolved per se. So yeah, it's a lot. Thank you, Melly. I'm glad I'm not the only one that finds it weird. Finds it really, really weird to look at. I would feel uncomfortable as shit. I'm not gonna lie. Do it. Do it. Do it. Why is he so submissive? My dude. Friendzone himself. Hopefully they break it. The dating sim with Monogatari. No, it's not. She gonna give you some dumb gift, I bet. Okay, or that. My dude friendzoned himself and then he cries because she mentions friends. Okay, dude. Okay, but no, for real. Like, this is something I like because everyone experiences this at one point, right? How many times have you guys like misread a situation, like friendship that was like flirty or romantic or whatever it may have been, and then you either friend zoned yourself or you got friend zoned. I think it's happened to everyone. It's happened to me. It's happened to the majority of people. Now, when you either friend zoned yourself or got friend zoned, what could you have done that was different? And then this is super important to go ahead and say it, point it out, right? Ed heading home. Yeah, it happens. It happens. That's a part of life. And I think one of the most important things that I can point out just in general is like the power of words, right? I could never. It's, and the reason why, I mean, yeah, it happens. It's like, Joker arc incoming. We live in a society. No, I'm kidding, guys. But like, it happens to everyone at some point in their life. Coworker, fellow student, someone, right? You're hanging out with, you misread a situation, and you're like left in an awkward space where it's like friends, I guess. Or sometimes they'll just back away completely, and like you'll feel alone. You'll feel pretty much left alone. But the reason why I'm bringing this out is because words play such an important meaning in the way that you're trying to convey yourself, right? I.e., how many of you guys actually start a friendship with someone you like, or a relationship in terms of like just talking, talking relationship by saying like, hey, you're a cool friend. If you do that, you're limiting yourself almost automatically. And this is not me doing the dating sim or anything just yet. I'm just putting it out there immediately because it's like, as individuals, we categorize ourselves to try and understand our picture of the world. This is what's called schemas, right? Sure, but what I'm talking about is like with people you like, sometimes we tend to mess things up, or sometimes we even tend to say, like, automatically categorize these friendships in our minds. This is what schema is, and this is sort of where I'm starting to kind of find a joke about him having an issue, like, truly, I don't know how to put it. I feel like if he connects with people, it'll probably all people that have had a traumatic experience, or probably be messed up in some way or another. And it's not to say like broken find broken, because that's absolutely not true. But if we find the way in which like we heal ourselves, it's usually by helping others as well, or by listening to others' issues, right? So in the future, wherever you guys go, and in the future, I guess for this guy as well, watch out for the way that you use words. Watch out for the way that you interact with certain individuals, because the way that like you phrase certain things will definitely impact your future relationships and so on and so forth. I.e., like, if things were just throwing this out there, right? Yeah, sometimes you just start talking with your friends, but then like how many in the specific relationships that turn like friend zoned, right? Like, i.e., it could have been a huge romantic relationship, but then I decided to not, right? Either you had too many feelings for this individual, or vice versa, or not enough feelings, or whatever. What ended up happening? It was more than likely either too clingy, too attached, pedestal putting, because that tends to be quite obvious what a lot of people tend to do, putting their partner in this weird pedestal that can break and fall, and if you were in a previous relationship, it can be a diversion. So, and also like a coping strategy where you're using your interactions that you're having with this individual and growing emotional attachment with them just to cover up from the pain and processing what your previous relationship was. It could be 1,001 things, but the way that like we frame, the way that we interact with people, the way that we use these words, super duper. Yeah, I feel like, well, you still have college and even work, in the future, or even if you're working now, sooner or later you're bound to run into a situation like this. But with that being said, what would I do to go ahead and like change it? And like, I mean, go from just being friends to going more than that. There has to be a big power imbalance in this relationship, this power dynamic. Could I see them being together? Yeah, absolutely. Could I see it working? Weirdly enough, yes. Uh, could I see them being useful to one another, i.e., like, because of what they've been to, like helping one another out? Yeah, definitely. So we'll see where this goes. But my prediction, like long term prediction, hopeful prediction, is like they somehow overcome this imbalance and actually get together, either just as like really good friends or in a relationship or something. She's really spelling it out for it. Exactly. Bro, I'm telling you, he's limiting himself immediately. Fuck. She really had to spell it out for him. Holy shit. Can I tell you that I really like direct girls like that? Like direct people in general that are like, let me just, tell you exactly what I'm feeling instead of beating around the bush. Preferred version of communication, I think, for a majority of people, be direct with what you want. Or guys as well. I'm pretty sure like if you're a girl, you'd pretty much prefer that a guy not beat around the bush and be direct with what he's wanting or saying. Oh, nice building. That was a good distance trip. So there is some weird thing like with him and his family. Because like either the distance got bigger or I just completely did not see that like they were this far apart when they first sat down. Which I'm pretty sure when they first sat down they were right next to each other. Because like it was that scene. Huh. That's super interesting. So there is some weird family shit. Still, wherever you place yourself, man. In psychology, and I hate to like point this out, right? There's a concept called into the void, right? And oftentimes, like, and this is kind of scary, but at the same time, it's kind of like important to go ahead and talk about just in general. Into the void is usually like can be either an attempt, we'll put it this way without violating any TOS, on one's life, because of just nothingness, there being no reason, no purpose in their own life to go ahead and do something. And it could also be a reason for not, like, I don't know how to put it, like, into the void is one of those times where you get, like, brain fog, uh, and you're completely, like, lose track of time, completely lose track of where you are, of how to even, like, get home sometimes. Into the void is sort of a scenario where your brain can sometimes just clamp up from all the like either trauma, stress, whatever it's going on, and stop oneself from either experiencing certain things, regaining immediate consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. So, super duper important to go ahead and like touch on this topic, because the more that I'm hearing him talk about like the stressors at home, the more it makes me wonder if it's either he's just trying to vent out or he has so much stress in that like it can literally cause brain fog, you know. It's at least in a realistic setting, this is what could happen, you know. And that's also a big portion if you're ever a procrastinator and you're wondering why is it that I'm procrastinating so much when I have a paper due like tomorrow or in a couple hours. It's because of that, right? It's also because the brain fog gets heavier the more like that time keeps coming down, right? If you're 5 weeks away, you're procrastinating, okay, because of the realism that's not like immediate, right? When it's immediate and you're feeling like the depths of procrastination, until it's like an hour out before it's due, and all of a sudden like adrenaline kicks in, and you have to like beat that brain fog, beat that stress, like beat pretty much anything that's holding you down. It's a portion of that. And there's a lot of generational trauma that goes into it, and there's a lot of still stigma. And for those of you that like do have a form of ADHD or on the spectrum or whatever it may be, I know that there's still a lot of spectrum out, or a lot of stigma out there, especially in the Latin American community and pretty much all around the world, where parents don't want to get help for their kids because they might or might not have it. They won't even go ahead and do a diagnosis for something. It's weird to think about and weird to throw out, but it's important. And if you do find yourself like wondering, maybe I do, maybe I don't, I know that there are other versions out there, like professional psychologists and mental health workers that will definitely like reach out and do like a pro bono or help out wherever possible. So super important to go ahead and just touch on that as in case you ever needed to hear something like that. Damn, she really grilling this dude.
姉妹逆縁婚といって奥さんが死んだ後奥さんの姉だったり妹だったりと結婚することを言うの。
どうして僕がそのソロデートとやらになるんだ？
荒木くんの場合は姉ではなく妹ね。つまり奥さんの妹さん。
Yeah, can we put some emotes like that on Discord, please? Oh, I was gonna pause it like wherever we get to.
今のはあなたを試したのよ。
なんで僕試されてるの？っていうかお前、それってまだ本気を出して
Testing
いないってこと
the
なのか？
greatest. Bro, why does that look like what would I call it? Like a flying nimbus or like a weird, like snail looking thing. So like it's so weird because it's like the centerpiece, the only thing that actually glows red, compared to like the red rail that they were playing on wherever it's at. But it reminded me of like the weird flying nimbus type thing. That's awesome.
荒木くんの人間の小ささ。
卒業できればいい。
The gradual zoom ins are killing me.
普
Okay.
通にしてりゃできるよ。
じゃあ普通にしたいとか。
喧嘩売ってんだな。そうなんだな。
じゃあそうね。彼女が欲しいとか。
I told you. Told you.
欲しいって言ったらどうなる？
Let's go.
彼女ができるわ。
I just didn't think it was gonna be this
それだけ
immediate.
のことよ。
いや、そういうのは別にないな。
Alright, fam. Never mind.
そう。
Never
まあ
mind.
今度ジュースでもおごってくれよ。それでチャラってことにしようぜ。
To be honest, like it would be
無欲なのね。本当。
attachment wise, I'd be a little concerned how quickly, but
あの子、さっきもいたな。なあおい、戦場がな。あの小学生のリュックサックの名札、あれ、なんて読むんだ？
あ？見えないわよ、そんなの。
bruh.
普通はこの距離では読めないか。関数字、十中八九の89に寺で、89寺って並びなんだけれど。
まあ、それは八九時ね。
八九時？じゃああれは八九時迷いってことか。こいつどう考えても子供が好きってタイプじゃないよな。
Alright, guys, I'm done for the day. Thank you so much for coming to the stream. It's been absolutely fantastic, but it's a lot to take in. Okay. So almost immediately, it's too early for you to predict the entire arc. I'm not predicting anything, bro. I'm just making logical assumptions here. But no, so this girl that he's seeing doesn't exist in the metaphysical realm, right? Or in the physical realm, rather well said. Praising Ara, dude. Yeah, like, because she can't see the little girl, right? So therefore, with his red eyes, is this becoming prevalent because of that? Or is it because of like another weird god type thing? And that's exactly where my mind is going. It's racing to two different possibilities like that. And it's racing to the ability that like if it's say a god, or if it's say a manifestation of his own traumas that like are manifesting in this thing, is this like a, I don't know, I don't know. Like it's such an important thing to go ahead and like, I guess, point out and figure out. Um, just like the reason why I stopped it there, because it's sort of what I was wondering. It's like I wonder how he even deals with all of the stress and everything. So if this little child becomes a parent to Senju, then I'll go ahead and rule out the possibility that like it's just a like maybe she just couldn't read, maybe she was blind. Sometimes little kids run around, you just don't really care or see them, right? But if it's not, this is where the two, three. Actually, my brain is trying to connect so many dots right now, like so many different possibilities run into, and I wonder if this is sort of like a call into the void for Araragi, just in general. How much time passes by in one of these episodes? That's what I'm curious. Like, not like, oh yeah, but this whole show is like 40 something minutes. What I'm talking about is like, for these characters in this show, right? How long can you like stay in a place or stay in a situation, and like how does time
ちょっ
transpire,
と
you
ここ
know?
待っててくれるか？
いいけれど、荒木くんどこかへ行くの？
小学生に話しかけてくる。
やめておきなさい。傷つくだけよ。
ほんと、ひどいことを平気で言うよな、こいつは。よ、
That's
どうした？道にでも迷ったのか？
話しかけないでください。あなたのことが嫌いです。どうしたの？何かあったの？
傷ついた。傷つくだけだった。もう一回言ってくる。
she can't see it. Uh Y'all can't fuck around with me like that. Uh Fool me once, shame on me. Try to fool me twice. Shame on me still, because I should have seen through it. The eye movement there, the way that like the subtleties. I'm even getting up in my chair. This is how you know, like I'm like the subtleties of the eye movement, the subtleties of just like the facial expression when like he's mentioning all of this. This is so weird. This is so interesting that like there was so much attention placed on this, and the interaction when he first got up to go leave, it was sort of a joke. So this is so. This is so like either she's not there, or it's the tsundere side of her, or y'all can fucking judge me for this. He's just going fucking nuts for a bit. It happens, yo. We all gotta have a breakdown someday, some point. But that facial reaction she gave him, the entire time. You know what? The entire fucking time, you guys can be like, Edgar, you're fucking crazy. Ed, you stop. You're just like insane. But one thing that takes, and I take this into consideration, right, when talking with a person, or even like when examining a person's like intents, whether or not they're being true or not, like their body language doesn't really. It's hard to fake body language. It's easy to fake words and find ways to use your words. It's really hard to fake body language. Intrigue, not intrigued, so on, unless you're an actor, of course, and you've had like years of training or so on. But like, even for framing, right? Like, why? Like, this is what's going through my mind. And some of you guys can be like, well, maybe he's not paying attention to every single word. And yeah, you'd be correct. Sometimes the words escape my mind. Other times it's when like it reiterates itself, when there's like a cycle. And in psychology, this is something that all therapists pay attention to. It's like, I can ask you, hey, how's your day been? And you can be like, oh, it was good, blah, 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 blah. And I ask you, hey, how's your day been? Like later on in the session, you're like, hey, it was okay. Later on, it's like, hey, how's your day been? And you're like, eh. By that time, I already heard twice. So I'll pick it up, because there's a cycle in the way that we talk. There's a cycle in the way that we interact, nonverbal, verbal. But specifically in animation, and this is something beautiful that you can do, and this is something with any anime, and this is something that I've done with ReZero and all the anime I watched. There's a reason why things are framed in certain ways, certain location. And if you have to even think about it further, think about all the animators that actually have to paint and draw certain scenarios. And then past that, you know, the ones that make it onto the script or onto the like editing process, scratch that. The ones that get approved from the director, scratch that. The ones that actually like hold up in time and have meaning, because there's absolutely like no way that just randomness would be pulled in there. So, i.e., the zooming in, the eye flicks, everything like that. So it was a director's choice to go ahead and do this, and that's exactly why my brain is like on overload. Such a cute backpack. Bruh. That even looks like the entrance to like a shrine or something. Again, y'all.
私にはよくわかってこの世界にはありません。全くもって皆無です。いや、だから悪かったって。僕の名前は荒木小読って言うんだ。小読ですか。女の子みたいな名前ですね。女臭いです。
Alright, dude. We've already had more than enough of one person being super rude.
私は八九時迷いです。私は八九時迷い。ことだそれは。怒鳴られました。怖いです。いや、怒鳴ったのは悪かったけれど、でもジンチクさんはひどい。
If she doesn't exist and you're watching this interaction, would you think he's nuts? I would 100% be like, either he's interacting with someone that's not there, or like on another level of existence that we currently do not have an understanding of, or this man has just blown a fucking pipe. Nah, seems perfectly normal. Like, the more that I think about this, like, he'd be slapping the air or like yelling at like nothing, and I'm like, oh, God. In any case, he's nuts. No. Are you sure it's not you who's lost this whole time? Ouch. Yeah. I mean, framing, but okay, guys. Alright. Alright. Imagine being Senjogahara. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'd be... Oof. Oof, I would be questioning my like life choice at the moment. Yeah, you don't want to be with her if... To be fair though, she saw an invisible crab god, so at this point it would be hard whether to know if he's going nuts or not. Oh, ooh. At what point would too much nuts be too much, you know? Like, is too much nuts like M&M, like, you know, like too nutty, or are we talking like just like a bowl of nuts, that being more than enough, you know? Because at this point in hand, you already know that like you've dealt with some weird shit. Like too nutty, yeah. Like you've dealt with some weird shit, so what is the acceptable level of nutty that is okay, I guess, if that makes any weird sense? Bro. No. I thought we still have like 8 minutes. No. I was just getting... Oh, no. I was just getting so into it. Damn. Okay, sorry, guys. Ooh, rip. Yeah, to be continued. Damn. This was so interesting. So good. To be honest with you, I didn't expect for things to go on. Yeah, I was getting worked up. I'll be honest with you. My brain was trying to connect so many dots that I wasn't sure where this was gonna go, whether or not it was realistic or not, or just the general terms of what it means to be in that sense. That was a lot. That was a lot to take in general. That was so good, and that's probably the best way I can put it. Like, I'll give this episode like just in solid how would I put it? Title, the way that like the framing was, the length, pretty much everything. I'll give it like a 9.8 out of 10. Right. If that makes anything, that this gets a solid stamp of approval, gold star, because it was a really, really good episode. It got me intrigued really, really well. And I think just in terms of storytelling, in terms of the animation, the way that like characters' facial expression, yeah, it's a certified hood classic. So yeah, it was a great episode, absolutely great. But now, yeah, now I'm like noticing all like I don't know how to put it, like the little frames, like the smile, the frown, the like eye sparkle, questionative, everything that they did is so on purpose, and noticing like how meticulous it is. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in a good way, and I'm pretty sure. I hope that you guys at least discovered something new while rewatching this episode. If you guys, this is your like second run through of it, or third, or fourth, or seventh, or eighth. I don't know, y'all. I don't know how much y'all watch anime, but yeah, it's quite a bit. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And YouTube, let's all say goodbye to YouTube. Feel free to subscribe, hit that like button. It really does help the channel grow and reaches more audiences. For anyone that's ever questioned anything, no, I haven't seen the show. We're literally doing this live episode by episode. No, I don't have all the time in the world as much as I would love to. I do therapy, and I'm actually like actively from like 9 to 5, 9 to 8 sometimes doing counseling. So I don't have time to do pretty much anything other than sometimes come on Twitch, or watch an episode with y'all, play a game, and then go to bed for the next day. But please hit that like button. Please join our Discord. We're always super friendly there. We're always able to discuss anything. We even have venting and support tabs there. Not necessarily professional mental help, just if you want to go ahead and vent whatever your frustration is, or ask for advice from anyone in there. We're more than happy to go ahead and do that. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Practice that self-care, and we'll see you guys next time.